And with the elections coming up on October 27th, we here at Cable 10 Live are giving you the opportunity to hear from various different candidates, whether they be running for school trustee, regional or city councilor, or even mayoral candidates. And joining me today to talk about his candidacy for school board trustee for Brampton Catholic, Wards 1, 3, and 4 is Jefferson Huang. Jefferson, thank you so much for joining me today on Cable 10 Live. Like I said, you're a very young and energetic guy, and I know you're very willing to share with us your platform. Before we get into that,
yes.
Why are you choosing to run in this year's election?
Nav, thank you for inviting me to the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, there's a couple of reasons why I wanted to run. But one reason I really wanted to run was because the recent EQAO test scores, and math and English scores, they've gone down year after year in this province. And the schools that I'm representing, they're the bottom 50% of all schools in Ontario for EQAO results. And we definitely need to get that addressed. And that's why I'm running, because I live in the community. I went to those schools, and I definitely want to be able to give back as much as I can.
So it's interesting you mentioned that, because I've been chatting with a lot of different candidates, and EQAO seems to be a topic that's coming up a lot.
That's right.
And do you think there's room for standardized testing within the Ontario curriculum?
Yeah, there is, yes. There is a lot of standardized testing throughout the curriculum, but this is a great way to really allow our students to do those exams, every 3 years or every amount of years to get tested. So see how the schools are doing, how the teachers are doing, and more or less are our math scores or English scores getting better year to year, and that's why standardized testing is quite important.
And like, do you feel like when the results come out that not a lot's being done to either rectify some of these results and making sure like they improve as the years go on, or do you think there should be more emphasis on the kind of work that needs to be done in school?
I agree. There's definitely not enough being done. I mean, instead, I think the provincial government hasn't done enough to address the issues. For example, standardized testing started in the 90s, and I
remember doing it too.
Yeah, but the problem is that the provincial government is making it easier and easier, the exams, and the students are still not doing better and better. So I think that's an issue we should take a look at.
What are some of the other issues that you're kind of looking at right now from a candidate perspective?
Yes, so it's definitely about my constituents, and the wards are quite important. We're doing poorly, like I said before, and we need to get that addressed. So in order to get that addressed, we need to put more emphasis on English and mathematics. So one proposition I would like to see is more after-school programs for mathematics to increase those math scores. And the provincial government has invested millions of dollars in e-tutoring or e-learning, so students can go home, bring their homework, and go on their computer, because everyone has a computer now, and an internet, have access to an internet, and they can get that extra help if they need to, and we need to emphasize that to get to those schools.
See, it's very interesting you mentioned the computer aspect. BYOD is becoming very popular amongst the classroom. Bring your own device. We're seeing students who are now even younger who have smartphones. Everyone's connected via the internet, via Wi-Fi. What are your thoughts on that kind of taking a bigger role in classrooms? And I even talked to some teachers, and they're kind of worried that the textbook or even some of the libraries are gonna end up becoming computer labs. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's fantastic. It's fantastic because it's not only a savings, a dollar savings for the school board and for a tax savings for our constituents, but we should have more of it, because what it allows us to do is now younger kids can go on the iPad and do math drills, and the teachers can, instead of be able to spend hours and marking each exam, they can see immediately which student is weaker than others, and the teachers can spend more time with those students. So I'd like to see more of it in school, and I'd like to see that we have a more of a standardized approach for all our schools in the ward.
What was interesting about your platform is the idea behind innovation grants. And I just want to kind of touch on that more, because we're kind of living in this age, especially in the Peel region, where innovation is being promoted across the board. And I think you've touched on a very key idea that a lot of people are going to be looking at. So explain that in more detail.
Yes. But definitely my platform of having innovation grants or technology grants for the students is quite important, because a lot of students go into high school, they want to start their own business, or they want to have their own startup. But school doesn't allow them. A lot of schools, they usually have the mindset, go to college or university or go into trades. This is what you should do. how about we create more entrepreneurs in this province? Because our unemployment rate is higher than national average in the province of Ontario, and right now we're shipping jobs out west to Alberta. So I think it's time to build more jobs in Ontario, and if we can encourage students to start their own business at a younger age, let's let them do so.
See, yeah, and like I definitely think you touched on a very, very interesting idea, because I think people, especially the youth, there seems to be a lot of concerns amongst unemployment, amongst being able to get the the right opportunities when they come out of school, or even when they're during school. And
right.
I think fostering entrepreneurship at a young age is definitely a good idea moving forward. What do you think is the relationship that a trustee needs to make with parents in the ward?
Yes, I think the trustee's relationship has to be good. Not only have a good relationship with the parents, but understanding the needs of the parent in general. There's a reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We have to listen to our parents and be able to communicate with them. So one of the major challenges that I foresee is being able to sometimes tell the parent, oh, this is how the province wants to do. This is what the school board wants to do. We're not going to advocate on your behalf, but I'm just telling you this is what's going to happen. I've seen a lot of that. It's happening too much. We need to stand up for the parents. We need to stand up for the students, and definitely go to the board and say, hey, we're not closing the school down, or hey, this student has this disability. We need to get more funding to so we can address this disability, so we can help them. And I think that's really important.
So do you feel like, the trustee needs to kind of play the role of an advocate? Because, I've chatted, and I'm sure you've chatted with a lot of parents, but I've chatted with other candidates from different wards, and they feel like that's the one thing that's kind of missing, is that, parents don't know that the trustee is there for them, and the trustee, kind of uses that as, maybe a way to kind of better their relationships as well.
No,
right?
I agree with you. When I was I went to high school in the Dufferin Peel. I went to High School St. Francis Xavier in Mississauga, and I remember I didn't even know who the trustee was. I didn't know information about the trustee. The only time I ever contacted the trustee was on my graduation day, because I couldn't get my transcript on time.
Oh, okay.
So I had principal wouldn't respond because they were on vacations. So I reached out to my trustee, and that's why I knew that it's important that everyone should know who the trustee is. And I understand a lot of parents don't go to those parent council meetings, so a lot of them are not informed who the trustee is. But it's quite important that that trustee, they reach out to the parents, but more importantly, let the students know who the trustee is, in case they can't talk to a counselor, or they really can't talk to the principal, that they can reach out to me for sure.
See, one other aspect of your platform was reducing bus fares.
Yes.
And I myself took the bus numerous times. I used to get up at Shoppers World and go to my high school, and it added up, and I even had a part-time job,
right.
And it was just money that I felt that I could have used elsewhere. And why do you think that's important, and how do you want to go about kind of inflicting that idea?
Yes. So cutting that bus pass is quite important. For example, in the city of Brampton, for a secondary school student, a bus pass is about $120 at the moment. When I did the math, if a student were to take on a part-time job, 4-hour shifts, to work twice a week, basically that would just cover their bus pass, and they make $0. And I don't think that's fair. More importantly, a lot of parents, especially the parents in my ward, when I talk to them, a lot of parents are working 2 or 3 jobs, really just trying to make ends meet. And it's quite important to me that, because all they do want to give their kids a better opportunity than they did. And I think it's quite important that we are able to give them a hand, and be able to give those parents the option where their students can purchase a bus pass at a reduced price, and can focus on going to those extracurricular activities, and then can go to those extracurricular activities, and can basically be able to get to those part-time jobs at a reduced cost.
See, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because some universities offers free bus fare for their students, and I know that's not the kind of thing that high schools can provide. But do you think there's room for subsidies or some type of action that could be taken, where like maybe the school can think about kind of compensating these costs if they know that a lot of their students are taking the bus, taking the public bus?
So from knocking on the doors in my ward and talking to parents, I asked the parents, does your son or daughter use the bus pass?
Yes.
A lot of cases, they say, oh no. I'm like, why is that? It's like, oh, it's too expensive.
Okay.
So if we did the math and it's $120, let's say this, assuming the 100,000 people buying a bus pass, if their price was reduced by 50%, wouldn't double or 3 times as many students buy bus passes. So actually, it wouldn't be a revenue problem.
Yeah.
Actually, the city might even generate more revenue.
Yeah,
and have more
exactly.
people encourage students to take transit instead of buying a car or their parents picking up. It's good for the environment. So
we actually only have a couple minutes left. I definitely want to touch on this one issue, and I just want to get your thoughts. You know,
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of parents and a lot of students kind of talk about being non-Catholic and having the opportunity to opt out of religion class, within the Catholic district school board. What's your stance on that?
We, my stance is, we do have a public board and we have a Catholic school board. They're both publicly funded, but my stance is students should, attending Catholic school should attend those religion classes. It doesn't only cover Catholicism; it covers world religion. So I think that it's a good education for it's good policy and it's good for the students.
And is there anything we do with students with disabilities that you're looking at as well in your platform?
Yes, there's a lot of students that might need extra help, with math or basically because they have learning disabilities. I definitely want those students or those parents to reach out to me immediately and be able to not provide them subsidies for after-school tutoring, provide them more tools if they needed to basically help them with their disabilities.
What about physical disabilities?
Yes, some of the elementary schools in the ward are not handicap friendly. They're not handicap friendly. They don't have the handicap
That's
features.
definitely a big issue.
Yeah, so we definitely need to look into that and see if we can make it accessible to those students.
Yeah, because it's just one of those things that definitely would make it learning convenient for everybody, right? So
Exactly.
it's great that you're considering that. You only have just about a minute left. Quickly tell our viewers why they should elect you for wards 1, 3, and 4.
Yes, I went to the schools in the PO region. I went to elementary school in the ward. I went to high school, in the same board. So I know who the teachers are. I know who the principals are. I understand, what the curriculum looks like because I'm pretty much fresh out of school at 24. But more importantly, if a parent were to call me, I'll call them back within 12 hours. I'll answer their calls. I'll go to their house. And I'll make sure that their issues are getting addressed. I definitely, whatever the province wants to implement or the board wants to implement, I will always voice the parents and what they want, and we'll definitely get it done.
Well, Jefferson, you seem like a very committed individual. I want to wish you well on your quest to be elected for Catholic Board Trustee for Brampton. And where can they reach you?
Yes, they can go to my website, jeffersonhung.com. It's JEFFERSONHUANG.com.
Awesome. We'll definitely post that on our show. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
and good luck on October 27th. We'll be back very quickly here on Cable 10 Live with more on local candidates in the October 27th election. We'll see you soon. Yeah, good luck.